वासुदेवाय।
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskritya
Narayanam Namaskritya
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Naram Chaiva Namah
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Saraswati Vyasam
Tato Jayam Udirayet
Tato Jayam
Srinvatam Swakataha Krishna
Sravata Krishna
Punyashravana Kirtana
पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तना
Vidyantasto hi abhadrani
हृदयस्तु
Prani
Vidhunoti suhrit satam
Vidhunoti
सुहृत्सताम्
Nashta prayeshva bhadreshu
नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु
Nityam bhagavata sevaya
नित्यं भागवतसेवया
Bhagavati uttama shloke
भगवती उत्तमश्लोके
Bhaktir bhavati naishtiki
भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी
Krishnaya vasudevaya
कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय
Devaki nandanaya cha
देवकी नन्दनाय च
Nanda gopa kumaraya
गोपालाय च
Govindaya namo namaha
Govindaya
नमो
Namah.
नमः।
Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी।
Wish you all a very, very happy New Year 2020.
Same to you, Prabhuji.
Very happy Krishna conscious New Year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
So welcome to Bhagavatam class. We are resuming now. So we covered second canto, third chapter before I left. So second canto was creation, and before creation, Sukadeva Goswami speaks about a few things about various forms of worship that exist. The specifically last chapter talked about demigod worship in depth, specifically which demigod to worship for achieving certain things. And then finally he concluded saying, worshipping the Supreme Lord is the highest. Even if you have material desire, it's better to go to the Supreme Lord. One very famous verse there was, you should all remember that. Akama sarva kamo va moksha kama udarati tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. Right? Akama, whether you have no desire. Sarva kama, you have all desires in the material world to enjoy in this world. Moksha kama, or you desire liberation. For any of this, whether you have no desires or all desires or desire mukti, any of these, if you have, still you worship the Supreme Lord. Tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. Approach that Supreme Lord with full faith. So there is no need to go to any demigod for fulfilling any desires. Especially as devotees, we should stick to the Supreme Lord. Even if you have material desire, go to Krishna and ask for it rather than going to demigod. Ideally is not to ask anything, but we should be truthful and we should better ask if you have until we become so pure that we don't have any. That's what Gaurang Prabhu says in one. You can express your heart, go to the Lord, and ideally I should not desire, but these are still bothering me, and you can pray for those things. It could be your material health or anything, but still better to approach only the Supreme Lord for any of those. So this chapter is titled Creation because the inquiries of Parikshit were around the process of creation, beginning this chapter. Before that, there is some context set where Maharaj Parikshit fully concentrates his mind on Krishna. After hearing about the demigod worship and the Supreme Lord worship, Parikshit Maharaj completely focuses on Krishna in his mind. So those verses we'll read today, 1 to 4. Do you see my screen? Word document?
Yes, Prabhu, we can see.
Okay. So
Presentation.
PPT, right, Prabhuji?
Oh, Word document, no?
No,
No, we
only
the
one.
I can't say that.
We still see the PPT.
Okay, 1 second. Let me know if you see Word.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. Yeah. Next one. Suta Uvacha
Suta
Sukta uvacha
Vayyasaker iti vachas
Vayasakeriti vachas
Tattva nischayam atmana
Tattva nischayamaatmanah
Padharya matim Krishne
Upadharya matim Krishna
Ne.
Tareya satim vyadhat.
Autareya satim vyadhat.
Vedat.
So, I'm speaking this.
Can you zoom a little bit, Prabhuji? I don't know if it's my side or.
Is it better?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you. Yes.
Suta Goswami said, Maharaja Parikshit, the son of Uttara, after hearing the speeches of Sukadeva Goswami, which were all about the truth of the self, applied his concentration faithfully upon Lord Krishna.
The word faithfully is important. Chastely, sati. Concentration of mind with full faith. In fact, Parikshit Maharaj, from day one, he is always focused on Krishna, right from the womb of Uttara. Correct? So there is never a time when he was deviated from Krishna. But now that he has absolved of all the responsibilities, he made King Janamejaya, his son, the next king, after the threat from life threat was imposed on him. He made Janamejaya as the king. Now he absolved of all responsibilities material. Now he has nothing, no other desire but to focus on exclusively Lord Krishna. Yeah. So it's no big deal. For many people in this world, to focus on Krishna is a challenge because their mind is filled with so many material desires. So when there are so many material desires, focus on Krishna is not possible. But for Parikshit, it was natural from his birth. So for him, he just focused on Krishna. As soon as the death threat came, he immediately used that as an opportunity to focus on Krishna. So this is what differentiates a devotee. For a devotee, he is 100% convinced that all challenges, all difficulties, anything that comes upon him, like the planetary system or whatever, people say your time is not good, etc. But for a devotee, he sees that as loving reciprocation from Lord. And he uses that, he thinks that Lord wants me to get closer. And this is my opportunity. Look at the life of Pandavas. They went through so many difficulties. They never complained, why I have these challenges. In fact, Mother Kunti prays for more and more such challenges so that she can more and more remember Lord. So that was the mood of the devotees. So imagine, we can think about how do we react in terms of challenges. When life throws challenges, how do we react versus how the devotees, the ideal devotees react. So we can see how distant we are still from pure devotion service. Right? That's how we should apply the teachings of scripture. Yeah. So let's read this purport, yellow highlighted.
The word Satim is very significant. This means existing and chaste. The whole Vedic adventure is to draw one's attention entirely unto the lotus feet of Lord Krishna without any diversion, as instructed in the Bhagavad Gita 15:15. Sar. Fortunately, Maharaja Parikshit had already been attracted to the Lord from the very beginning of his body in the womb of his mother. In the womb of his mother, he was struck by the Brahmastra, atomic bomb released by Ashwatthama. But by the grace of the Lord, he was saved from being burnt by the fiery weapon. And since then, the king continuously concentrated his mind upon Lord Krishna, which made him perfectly chaste in devotional service.
So
To become
just one minute. So look at life of Maharaj Parikshit. It started with a unexpectedly challenging situation. He was threatened even at the time of birth, literally. But we can see from he was from the beginning he was focused 100% on Krishna. So he was always perfectly chaste in devotion service. So this is what differentiates a devotee, and they set great example. In the challenging times, devotee is not perturbed. Why do you think devotee is not perturbed? Anyone want to answer? What makes a devotee not be disturbed, even among challenging or difficult or unsurmountable challenges?
Is it because they know that this too shall pass? It's not permanent.
That is true. That is external reality, right? Even a jnani can get to that understanding, correct? Something more deeper.
The faith in Krishna that he will.
Krishna is my father. He is my loving father. If he has given me something, a situation of this sort, it must be for my growth. It must be for my good. Because how will a loving father give me any situation which is not good for me to grow in? That is the faith of a devotee. That is far more deeper understanding. I mean, as we chant deeply, as we grow spiritually, this is what a devotee feels. So that's so we have seen in the life of so many great devotees. Even when take any great example of various religions, even Jesus Christ, when he was, just because he was, glorifying the Lord, he was punished for contempt, which was completely a lie. He was not, showing contempt on any Jews or anybody, but he was punished for contempt on people. It was a false allegation on Jesus, and he was punished with crucifixion. And he didn't complain. He just accepted. This is what Lord wants. Let me go through it. That's it. Just natural surrender. So is Prahlad Maharaj, right? He wouldn't hesitate to speak up to his father, demon Hiranyakasipu. He has no fear. And life-threatening of situation after life-threatening situation. Again and again, he takes shelter of the Lord every time. That's the only thing a devotee does. And he has full faith, 100% faith that if I will be in a situation only if Lord wants me to be in that. And he just lived by that principle in all the challenging times. So is Pandavas. So is, every great devotee in history was the same thing. Yeah, please read, continue.
to become a pure devotee of Lord Krishna, two things are very much essential, namely, having a chance to be born in a family of a devotee and having the blessing of a bona fide spiritual master. By the grace of Lord Krishna, Parikshit Maharaj had both opportunities. He was born in a family of such devotees as the Pandavas, and just to continue the dynasty of the Pandavas and show them special favor, the Lord specifically saved Maharaja Parikshit, who later on, by the arrangement of the Lord, was cursed by the boy of Brahmana and was able to get the association of such a spiritual master as Shukadeva Goswami.
Externally, even everybody sees that Parikshit got cursed. People don't feel good about being cursed. But in the, in detail, actually it is a situation where Lord arranged that so that he can meet a spiritual master, Sukadeva Goswami. See, even in the worst, when worst is happening to us, even in that situation, Lord arranges something good for us. See the arrangement of Lord. So even through difficulties, see that Lord is actually trying to do something great for us. He's always trying to favor us. And we may not be wise to get into a bad situation. We may be, stupid to get into a bad situation. But still, even through those challenging times, Lord is still kind upon us, as long as we still continue to have that faith in the Lord. Yeah. So the two things were mentioned here. So to become a pure devotee of Lord, two things are very much essential. One is having been born in a family of a devotee, right? You can say all the devotees who have children, the children of those families were like that, right? They were very fortunate. They have an opportunity to become pure devotee. Yeah. And secondly, having the blessing of a bona fide spiritual master that anybody can have, right? So anybody, every one of us, whether we are born in a family of a great devotee or not, by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, even if you are in America or in Europe or wherever you are, still you get the opportunity to be blessed by a spiritual master. So we are, not at loss, whether being born directly in a family of a devotee or, at least having the blessing of a bona fide spiritual master. Yeah. So Parikshit Maharaj concentrated his mind on Lord Krishna in the first verse. So let's continue. So after all of this, he is going to, ask a few questions about creation in the next section. Yeah. Atmajaya Sutagara
Atmajaya Sutagara
Pashudravina Bandhusu
Pashudravina Bandhusu
Ajye Chavi Kale Nityam
Raje Chavikale Nityam
Nityam
Dham Mamatam Jahao.
Virudham Mamatam Jahau.
Translation. Maharaj Parikshit, as a result of his wholehearted attraction for Lord Krishna, was able to give up all the deep-rooted affection for his personal body, his wife and his children, his palace, his animals like horses and elephants, his treasury house, his friends and relatives, and his undisputed kingdom.
For Parikshit Maharaj, just let's go a little deep into the verse here. He was a natural devotee of Lord. Now a situation came where he is about to die. Generally in this material world, everybody is attached to their personal body. They want to preserve their body. And their immediate, belongings like family members, children, wife, his home, and his animals, those are properties that time, or his bank balance, friends, relatives, right? And his undisputed kingdom. He was having all of that. But because he is such a pure devotee, it's very challenging for anybody to give up attachment to for all of this. But for him, in fact, he is already detached. He is already detached from all of this, internally, right? So there is internal detachment and there is external detachment. So Maharaj Parikshit, because of his deep attraction for Lord, if somebody is extremely deeply attracted to Lord, there cannot be attachment to money, family members. It is there in the mood of service. That is different. There is no attachment, means the difference between attachment and dutiful love, or attachment or love in relation with Lord is, suppose you do not have expectations of your child to become this, so all those things won't be there. It's a natural Krishna conscious love, right? So that was the situation with Parikshit. He is internally always detached, but externally, because he is a king, he has to set a good example for his citizens. Otherwise, if king himself is externally as well as internally detached, nobody takes any responsibility for their family. So even though he's internally detached, externally he was showing some kind of affection, which he now gave up completely, because now he gave the kingdom to his son fully. So now he is completely absolved of all responsibilities. And now he's wholehearted, 100% focused on Lord Krishna. For example, even Prabhupada in his last few months, he would not eat anything. He would just become very, very thin, almost skin touching the bones. We all have seen the picture of Srila Prabhupada, because he was completely detached from everything, right? So one of the disciples asked at some point, or even God brother, I think, asked him, Prabhupada, do you have any last desires unfulfilled? Prabhupada said, Kuch icha nahi. I don't have any desires. Because he is wholehearted attraction. His whole heart was full of attraction to Lord Krishna. He has, because of the deep rooted attraction to Lord, there is no attraction to anything of this world. Yeah, so he said like that. So we should all aspire to get to such a state of attraction to the Lord. So we have to see where we are still lacking. What are our, deep-rooted attachments, and see how we can reduce that. So how do you see that? We can see the examples like this. We can read these purports that gives some inspiration, right? We should get to at least some percentage of detachment of these great devotees after reading this, right? And pray to those personalities who have such qualities, Vaishnava qualities. Through their blessings, we will get that. Please read.
Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. To become liberated means to become free from Dehatma Buddhi, the illusory attachment for personal bodily coverings and everything connected within the body, namely wife, children, all other entanglements. One selects a wife for bodily comforts, and the result is children. For wife and children, one requires a dwelling place, and as such, a residential house is also necessary. Animals like horses, elephants, cows, and dogs are all household animals, and a householder has to keep them as household paraphernalia.
So when one Dehatma Buddhi means considering oneself as the body, Deha Atma. Buddhi means intelligence acting in that way, right? So when Atma, the soul, thinks my body is myself, and my bodily extensions are my, you know, my own extensions, and I have to, I have to fulfill the desires of myself as, as well as my extensions. So that is called Dehatma Buddhi. So of course, it's not wrong to. So today I was hearing a lecture by His Grace Radheshyam Prabhu on, this Sankranti. So he was talking about what it means to be a brahmachari versus what it means to be a grihastha. A grihastha accepts a wife. For that, now, because he has some little freedom to, he can now own his own home. He can have his children. He can, he can have bank balance. He can have car. But the thing is, he has all those additional responsibilities as well. He has to educate his children. He has to take care of medical needs of family, and he has to, get them married, settle them, financially support his parents. So all those additional responsibilities come. So for the sake of marrying, he will have to fulfill all those obligations. What about a brahmachari? Brahmachari has detached himself from the beginning from, the desire itself. See, if he was able to stand, then he has no need to take, take a wife or, additional responsibilities that come along, right? All these additional. It's a lot more challenging as a grihastha, but he says both are valid paths. In both paths, one can achieve pure devotion service. Just that one takes his responsibilities appropriately and works towards them. He says the grihastha life is several times more challenging than brahmachari life, both materially as well as spiritually. But if one sticks to the path sincerely and serves the devotees in his capacity, but he can make even better progress than even a brahmachari staying in an ashram, because Lord knows how hard it is to be a grihastha, a sincere grihastha. So nobody is less in terms of devotion service. That's the beauty of devotion service. In many other paths, one has to, become a sannyasi to achieve perfection in life. But in devotion service, we have so many great examples. Prabhupada, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, right? So many Babajis in the past. So as a grihastha also, there is complete hope to become a pure devotee, right? One need not think that, his opportunities are less. He has to, stick to the devotion service and please advanced devotees like Maharajas or Brahmacharis, when they come, serve them in your capacity, please them. Through their blessings, we grow. Through their service, we grow. Right? So, and we get opportunities based on our sincerity and how committed we are. Right? They recognize. Everybody is looking to expand devotion service for themselves as well as for others. So when a good instrument comes, they will accept happily, and through there, as a channel, we get blessings, right? So that's how it works.
Yeah. And I was, talking to Arjun Saka Prabhu, some discussion, and in that he was also mentioning the same thing that, grihasthas, right, in spite of having challenges of family, like spiritual life and work life, right, the triangle that we try to balance, they are the ones who are running most of the temples across the world, actually. They're, in spite of balancing everything, they're running the temples, and everything is running successfully because of them. So I think as long as we are sincere in putting that efforts, I think with Krishna's mercy and with the Prabhupada's blessings, I think we can progress.
Correct. Yeah. So as far as possible, we give our best effort.
Right.
Krishna knows it's not easy, and we cannot, we may not be like, brahmachari who has maybe multiple hours for reading, may have like hardly like couple of hours a week, and they know, and accordingly, through, service especially, a grihastha can progress. Please.
Attachment for household paraphernalia and for Lord Krishna go poorly together. One attachment is the path of darkness and the other attachment is the path of light. Where there is light, there is no darkness, and where there is darkness, there is no light. But an expert devotee can turn everything to the path of light by an attitude of service to the Lord. And the best example here is the Pandavas. Maharaj Yudhishthira and householders like him can turn everything to light by dovetailing so called material assets in the service of the Lord. But one who is not trained or is unable to turn everything to the service of the Lord, Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe, must give up all material connections before he can be fit to hear and chant the glories of the Lord. Or, in other words, one who has seriously heard Srimad Bhagavatam, even for even one day, like Maharaj Parikshit, fit from a fit personality like Sukadeva Goswami, may be able to lose all affinity for material things.
So here is an important line here. An expert devotee can turn everything to the path of light by an attitude of service to the Lord. And the best example here is Pandavas. Maharaj Yudhishthira and householders like him can turn everything to light by dovetailing so-called material assets in the service of the Lord. But one who is not trained is unable to turn everything to the service of the Lord. Right? So this principle is called, anybody knows? There is a term for it. In nectar of devotion, this word is used. There is two word. It starts with Y. You. Anybody remembers?
Yukta Vairagya.
Yes, Yukta Vairagya principle. Yeah. Yukta Vairagya means using everything in the service of the Lord. Whatever one has, the material positions, he will be able to, whether his house or any other facilities, use in the service of the Lord. But for that to really happen, there is an important statement here. It says Vairagya is first important. It's not like I will get a big house and then I will use it for the service of Lord. There is some attachment to get the bigger house. No, it doesn't begin like that. So it starts with Vairagya, means he has a natural detachment for things in such a way that he can happily use that thing in the service of the Lord. So he sees something in the eye of service, everything he has no desire to enjoy. He has basically no spirit of enjoyment towards anything, whether it's at a job or promotion or or a facility or a home, doesn't matter. He has no spirit of enjoyment. He sees everything in the same spirit. How this is everything. So that clearly stems from one fact, the fact that everything belongs to Krishna. Krishna is the supreme owner, supreme controller, and supreme source of everything. Right? When 100% convinced that everything belongs to Krishna, then there is a natural Vairagya. And when there is natural Vairagya, then there is natural dovetailment. You see, people do not understand Yukta Vairagya properly. People think whatever I have, I can use in service of Krishna, but I still have a lot of attachment. So when I do something, I expect something. So a lot of people in India, they give donation to build a temple, but they want their name to be written in the temple somewhere clearly visible. So that's not they gave donation, means it's kind of a vairagya, but it's not real detachment. They have some expectation. So how do we develop that Yukta Vairagya attitude, which we all should develop at one point? It comes with the understanding that Lord is the supreme owner of everything that exists, chara, everything. 100% be convinced about that first. When one is convinced, then he sees everything in the spirit of service. Everything is here only to be engaged in the service of the Lord. That is the spirit in which he is. That is the Vairagya spirit. And then when it is there, naturally he want to use for the pleasure of Lord, because he knows it is belonging to Krishna. His right utility is to utilize in the service of Lord, right? Naturally. So he naturally thinks in that spirit. So that is called Yukta Vairagya. So that is the principle discussed here. Maharaj Yudhishthir and householders like him can turn everything to light by dovetailing so-called material assets in the service of the Lord. But one who is not trained or is unable to turn everything to the service of the Lord, Nirbandha Krishna Sambandha Yuktam Vairagyamuchyate, must give up all material connections before he can be fit to hear and chant the glories of the Lord. Ideally, this is pure devotional platform. We can still chant and hear before we become a pure devotee. But pure devotion service means when one is fully detached. Paprachachamam evardham janmam prichata saptama Krishnanubhava shravane Pradhano mahamana Samstham vijnaya sanyasya Trai karmatraivargikam chaya Deve bhagavati bhavam dridam gata. Please read.
Translation. O great sages, the great soul Maharaj Parikshit, constantly wrapped in thought of Lord Krishna, knowing well of his imminent death, renounced all sorts of fruitive activities, namely acts of religion, economic development, and sense gratification, and thus fixed himself firmly in his natural love for Krishna and asked all these questions exactly as you are asking me.
So this is a simultaneous conversation being discussed here. There is the Sutta Goswami and Saunika Rishis. They were discussing this about the discussion between Parikshit and Sukadeva Goswami. So the great soul Parikshit, constantly wrapped in thought of Lord Krishna, knowing well of his imminent death, renounced all sorts of fruitive activities, namely acts of religion, economic development, and gratification, dharma, artha, kama, and fixed himself in the natural love and asked all these questions exactly as you're asking.
The three activities of religion, economic development, and sense gratification are generally attractive for conditioned souls struggling for existence in the material world. Such regulated activities prescribed in the Vedas are called the Karma Kanda, conception of life, and householders are generally recommended to follow the rules just to enjoy material prosperity both in this life and in the next.
So here one thing to understand is it's mentioned here Maharaj Parikshit renounced all sorts of fruitive activities for religion, economic development, sense gratification. He was a pure devotee internally, but being a king, he has a duty towards his citizens, and he was participating in economic development as a king, right? And participating in religious activities, etc. But everyone knows, inside what he is, right? So this is an external statement. It's not really like he was a person of mixed devotion, right? It's not true of himself. It's just a statement because he was dutiful towards his, kingly opulences, being a king. So
Maharaj Parikshit is specially qualified with the word Mahamana, which puts him on an equal level with the Mahatmas described in the Bhagavad Gita. In the later age, also there have been many Mahatmas of this type, and they also gave up all karma kanda conceptions of life solely and wholly depending on the supreme personality of Godhead Krishna. Lord Chaitanya, who is Lord Krishna himself, taught us in his Shishtakashta Aslisya padaratam pinastu mam adarshanan marmahatam kurutu va yatha tatha va vidhatu lampato mat prananathastu se sa eva napara. Lord Krishna, who is the lover of many devotees, women may embrace this fully surrendered maid servant or may trample me with his feet or he may render me broken hearted by not being present before me for a long duration of time, but still, he is nothing less than the absolute Lord of my heart.
So this is from Sikshastakam. Aslishya. So Lord is free to do anything with me, right? He can trample me under his feet or even make me broken-hearted because he is completely free to do whatever he wants. That is the spirit of a pure devotee, right? Here Maharaj Parikshit also put himself like that. Maharaj Bali also put himself at the lotus feet of Lord, right? He was stripped of everything before. He 1 minute he had everything, next minute he doesn't have anything, right? That's why he became Mahajana, right? Mahajana, great example for devotee, on the level of Prahlad Maharaj, on the level of all these great devotees, right? So yeah, so that is the quality of a pure devotee, right? So even Parikshit Maharaj, a great danger came upon him, is naturally accepted without any challengings. He didn't challenge the situation, he just accepted as Krishna's mercy. So that's a pure devotee. Mahatma is a person who is under Daivi Prakriti. Mahatmanastu Mahamparda Daivim Prakriti Ashritaha. They are under full shelter of the Daivi Prakriti, or the divine potency of the Supreme Lord. So they are always sheltered nicely. So that's why therefore don't feel threatened by any situation of material world. Because material world is what? He knows very clearly it is completely under the control of the Supreme Lord. So the modes, we cannot disturb them, right? Haridas Thakur, he was beaten in 21 marketplaces. No budge. He didn't complain. He didn't say a bad word. He just accepted. And he was praying for those people who were punishing him. Just like Jesus Christ was praying for the people who were trying to kill him, right? Please, Lord, do not punish them because they know not what they are doing. And that's what Jesus says. So they are completely happy and they're completely situated in Daivi Prakriti. Maharaj Parikshit here, he didn't complain. In fact, he did not even want to meet Shringi's dad because he thought Shringi's dad must be feeling so bad to meet me after his son has cursed me so badly without proper thinking, right? He doesn't want to meet him and make him feel guilty. See the level of emotional intelligence that Maharaj Parikshit had. So that is a pure devotee, right? So we can see what is the standard of a pure devotee. Yeah, you can skip this. You can read directly this, Moses.
Religion, economic development, and self gratification are celebrated as three means of attaining the path of salvation. Of these, Ishka Trai, especially that is knowledge of the self, knowledge of fruitive acts and logic, and also politics and economics, are different means of livelihood. All these are different subjects of Vedic education, and therefore, I consider them temporary engagements. On the other hand, surrendering unto the Supreme Lord Vishnu is a factual gain in life, and I consider it the ultimate truth.
Hmm. So surrendering unto the Supreme Lord is the factual gain, is the only thing one can gain in life, right? Everything else, politics, economics, they keep changing, right? Today America is great, tomorrow India may be great. No, why bother so much energy on that? So all of this keeps changing in the middle world, right? So focus should be on the ultimate or the most important thing, which is the surrender to the Supreme Lord.
The whole matter is concluded in the Bhagavad Gita 2.41 as Vyavasaitmika Buddhi, or the absolute path of perfection. Sri Baldev Vidya Bhushana, a great Vaishnava scholar, defines this as Bhagavad Arjuna Rupaika Nishkama Karma Bhir Visuddha Chitta, accepting transcendental loving service to the Lord as the prime duty, free from fruitive reaction. Maharaj Parikshit was perfectly right when he firmly accepted the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, renouncing all karmakanda conceptions of life.
Yeah, so Maharaj Parikshit was perfectly right. He did the right thing, right? So when death is upon us, it is not easy to get such focus on the Supreme Lord and become detached from everything. But we see how the Krishna conscious movement is helping so many families. We have seen, at least in the recent past, so many great devotees within ISKCON become completely detached, when they're, nearing their last lifetime, right? So, or towards their last few days. So we have seen so many devotees completely act in detachment, and these are regular grihasthas. They're not even or like brahmacharis or sannyasis. So that means Krishna conscious movement is providing such great opportunity to leave this body in detached spirit, amidst the prayers of devotees, right? So we should all aspire for such part. So we should all pray that when we leave this body in this material world, we should have a situation where we can completely focus on the Supreme Lord and forget about all the material attachments we ever had in our life, right? And it takes no time, it doesn't need to take a lot of time to feel detached. Any questions so far on what we discussed? We discussed 4 verses. No questions? I want to keep it short for today. A little bit tired today after the celebration, and a lot of dance as well.
Haribol.
after a long gap,
Yes, Prabhuji. After long gap, yes.
I think it was not easy, and I was like totally exhausted after that. Anyway, but we covered 4 verses for today.
It's a good reason to get tired.
Yeah, it was a very good reason to get tired. Yeah. If there are no questions, we'll end the class here. But Bhagavatam is full of nectar. That's what we should see here, right? Beautiful verses of great examples. So we should read these verses again and again and see how we are, where we are, where are the gaps. We may not be pure devotees. We may not even think how we can get there. But if we sincerely pray, if we can get the opportunities to serve, great Vaishnavas, we'll get those qualities. But amidst us, we have great examples of, surrendered devotees, fully surrendered devotees, right? So we have the example of Harilash Maharaj among us, and many other devotees who visit us, right? Fully detached. So His Grace Radheshyam Prabhu is visiting, in 10 days. He's one, one of the greatest example for me in terms of, show of detachment. You can see, his life is such a plain, simple life.
Yes, yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, we can learn so many things from him. And please take full advantage of his, availability on those. He's only here for 2 days, but but he is fully ready to help anybody with their devotion service. He's very much available and very great example in terms of devotion service. Okay, so we'll end the class here. Other than unless we have any other questions.
When is he coming, Prabhu?
He is coming on 25th and he is staying 25th and 26th, leaving on 27th early morning, Saturday morning.
So evening we have classes in the temple.
He is giving class on Thursday evening and
25th.
Friday morning. And Friday evening also is not giving class because he has a university event.
Oh, okay.
He's just there for 2 sessions. Very, very short, unfortunately. But if you want to meet, you can let me know on Friday afternoon. Maybe we can do some, some arrangement where you can talk. We can all
Okay.
come together and meet. That makes.
Sure, Prabhuji, that will be great actually. Yeah, we need at least 30 minutes meet with Prabhuji so we can ask any questions to Prabhu. It will be really nice.
On Friday afternoon, I can request Prabhu.
Recently also Amarendra Prabhu referred to Radheshyam Prabhu's that morning waking up in Brahma Muhurta class actually. That class is very popular by Prabhu. I think everyone refers to that class of Prabhuji. Yeah.
Amarendra Prabhu's, he considers him as his mentor and example and everything. For Amarendra Prabhu and Arjun Sakha Prabhu, for both of them, Radheshyam Prabhu is their life.
Sure, Prabhu, yes. I also try to listen to at least a couple of lectures or one lecture at least per week of Radheshyam Prabhu because it inspires me a lot. So, yeah.
It's amazing. It's amazing, Prabhu, actually.
And actually, for the American devotees, he's doing Bhagavatam in-depth study on Thursday and Wednesday, if you can make it. But it is coming at the Mangalarti time, 5:15 a.m. I am attending because I don't generally go for Mangalarti in the mornings here. I do at home. So if you are available, let me know. I can share the Zoom link. Every week there is a class.
Yes, Prabhuji, if you can share, I think I asked for it. If you can please share.
Which day is that, Prabhu? Which day is he doing?
Wednesday and Thursday morning, 5:15 to 6 o'clock.
Okay, Prabhu. Sure, definitely.
That's like
Wednesday we can definitely attend, Prabhu, because it's kids late start, so definitely it will work out.
Yeah, you can plan it. His class is very nice, actually, very inspiring. So many principles you learn, practical lessons.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, very practical, actually. A lot of takeaways and that we can implement.
Yeah, Radheshyam Prabhu has this Gita Amrita Bindu. It's in the it's in YouTube. They are all like 35 minutes sessions of Bhagavad Gita. I think there are exactly 108 such sessions. It's all in YouTube. It's wonderful. I started going through all of them one by one.
Last
week.
If you can share this link, Prabhuji.
Yeah, I will share, yes.
Hare Krishna.
Wonderful. Thank you all very much. So we'll end the class here.
Prabhu, just one thing. I'm not sure if devotees are interested to do in-person class. Like now.
Should we do in-person class in temple so what times would work? The same time, 2:30 to 3:45, or a little later? Maybe you can let me know. What do you all think? Maybe each of you can go for a minute and let me know.
Prabhuji, for me, practically, I prefer online now because Sundays, evening service is there almost from 6:30 to 10. We are at temple, and morning also sometimes food truck service is there. So almost full day it seems like out of house.
Okay.
So
Okay. See, as long as you participate, you read and you recite the verse, you are getting the benefit of, of course, in person is always great, especially when a person is new and, starting Bhagavad Gita, in person is a must. We're all mature. That's why I didn't focus on, so much on bringing into in-person class, because we have been there for a long time and we all have a good bond. So that's why, and you're all mature, you're chanting for so many years. That's why I didn't focus on bringing in person. But in person is always definitely better than, online engagement. If you all feel in person would work, I am willing to do that. In person as well as online, you can do that if you want. I want to hear, raise your hand if you think you can make it for in person. You can raise right now. And we'll make it work somehow, You can go to the reaction and tick so that I can see how many are inclined or can make it for in person.
So in the temple, Prabhu?
In the temple, we can do.
Yeah, temple means I think I would prefer 3:30 to 5 because right after that I have a class in temple, so I cannot go for that.
Okay.
So if that is the case, yeah.
Okay. Anybody else who can see? There are devotees who are joining from different places like Redmond or even sometimes outside city. So I don't expect them to join. Like Varalakshmi Mataji is in Bothal. I don't think it will be possible for her to be in person. Yeah, I think most crowd seems comfortable with
Online.
online. I think
Yes,
then
Prabhu, online
let's
Zoom is
not,
better for me also.
change all of a sudden. But if weather permits, and once in a while, maybe we can do. Okay, maybe
Yes, Prabhu.
I will arrange some.
Once in a while is fine.
That is okay. Yeah, correct.
Once in a quarter, or
Yes. Yeah.
okay, we can do something like that then. Okay, perfect. This is clear for me.
thank you, Prabhuji, and welcome back once again.
Thank you, Madhavi.
Thank you.
Thanks, Prabhuji. Hare
Thank you so
Hare
much,
Krishna.
Prabhuji. Hope you had a good
Thank
India
you,
trip this
Prabhu.
time.
Hare Krishna.
Correct.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.